ex-gratia of 4 months every year that you served, multiplied by the number of years, I tell you what Togbe Apede has done is actually to bring to the fore how this little country of ours, struggling, and yet the very people who pretend to serve end up taking monies which sometimes they do not need.
I mean, is the live stream on? Yeah. Delays a bit to fix some few issues in the background. I mean, talking about ex-gratia, maybe we need to argue for ex. What is the thing? I'm trying to see if I can see a lot of you joining us. I'm not seeing you on our live stream. This is state of play, so we need to make sure that we can tell our peace of mind to the technical guys. If they mess the thing up, we need to tell them. But I can't see you. Can they watch us?
I think they can now.
They can now. Okay. So good. Okay. So welcome, and let's have a conversation there. We were talking about the ex-gratia thing. Yeah. We have of course decided to return his ex-gratia. Some have criticized him for it. Some say he was being political, wanted to score political points. But really, if you look at it, his argument was twofold. He says, one, you paid me salary whilst I was there on a part-time job, and so yeah, I don't. ex-gratia says thank you very much. You don't need to thank me. The thanks is enough because of the salaries I took. Some have taken issue with that. I don't understand why people have taken issue with that.
People say he's trying to do what? He's trying to be a populist?
Yeah, populist and, score political points.
It is better to score political points this way. Look, if this is the best way to score political points, then I'd prefer Togbe Apede, and I'd prefer our Ghanaian politicians to do this all the time, to return to the state and say, you know what, I think I don't deserve this. Somebody, he didn't return his salary, Evans. He did not return the salaries paid him. He did not. He returned the ex-gratia. He says, I don't deserve this. You're telling me that, oh, I'm giving you all your salaries. But at the end of it all, I'm saying, thank you. So every year, 4 months of your salary is what I am giving to you. The man says, I don't need it. This cannot amount to trying to score cheap political points. This is a man who has done something to actually get our conscience to ask ourselves that simple question, whether we're treating the people of this country right.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. And I completely agree even if it was a populist gesture, because again, I don't know his motive.
Yeah.
I only take him at his word. He said a few things in a statement to explain what has happened. Now, here's the thing. Those who are feeling uncomfortable about this, you know when they say dry bones, when dry bones are mentioned, the old ladies feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Those who are feeling uncomfortable about this are those who feel they've been exposed by what he's doing. So when all of us have our hands in the thing, in the booty, then you take your hand out and say, I don't want it anymore. I've repented.
Yeah.
What it means is you are shining a light on the folks who still have their hand in the thing, and they don't like that. That is why I see there's a backlash. That is why, because I don't see any. If somebody says, I am going to add, and I want to be specific here, I'm going to add at least 366,340 cedis back to the consolidated fund. Assume he's going to go back, right? We should applaud him.
Of course.
This is an economy in crisis. This amount of money can do a lot for a chips compound. This amount of money can do a lot for a village mechanized borehole.
Look.
So I don't really get why people are criticizing him. Yeah, I mean, if he did it for populist reason, he's exposing a problem that we've had. Look, so ex-gratia. Yesterday, Inus Afuseni explained his sort of end of term benefit because those special Article 71 office holders, they are contract staff.
Look, there's a deceit to all of this. There's a deceit to all of this. Inus Afuseni, who is explaining that. How many times was he in Parliament?
Yeah, he says he took ex-gratia by just 100,000.
He took what?
Ex-gratia by just 100,000.
Who told his 100,000? He, Inus Afuseni. The committee's report we're talking about applies to him. How much was he paid? So how much was Inus Afuseni paid? Please, let's not go there. You see, the point that I want to make is that what saddens me is that here's a case where majority of the people who are condemning and insulting the man are not even the beneficiaries of ex-gratia. So it's not someone who is, say, a member of parliament or a minister earning ex-gratia that says, oh, don't mind Toby after there. Somebody on the fringes, he doesn't earn that. And he feels it is important to defend those who earn that. For me, that's a problem.
That's a very important point.
That's a problem. That if you, sitting on the fringes, if you're on Facebook, you're on social media, condemning somebody who says, look, let me return this money to the state. And at least at that point in time, we should be putting pressure on the others to return monies to the state. We have talked about this, I mean, for a very long time. We've asked the question, why are we still paying these people ex-gratia? And then you decide that, oh, don't worry. Even the man cry, this is hypocrisy. This is hypocrisy. So why didn't he return his salary? Please. He says, I have been paid. I do not want an end of service benefit. Because so far as I care, so far as I know, I have been paid for it. He did not say, I don't want to be paid for it. He says, I have been paid for it, and I will take no further money from the state. This is patriotism, and the timing is very important. He's got us having a conversation, and I think today, the beneficiaries of ex-gratia are worried. And I say, it's about time. If we are truly convinced, okay, and if we think that we are in difficult times, and we have decided to cut salaries of political appointees, let us start that conversation today. Enough. No more ex-gratia.
Yeah, I mean, and we are not saying do not pay Article 71 office holders, don't pay their salaries. So, I mean, that's all we're saying. We have already put this in the constitution, what they earn, etc. You know, so that's fine. Pay them their salary. Pay them what they're due at the end of the month. What we are opposed to is after you've paid them all the salaries and all the pegs and the free fuel, you give them vehicles and all the thing. Remember that they are serving us. That's a very important thing. They are in what we call the public service.
Yes.
They are there to serve us, the public. So if you have a situation where you serve, and whilst you're serving, we make sure that you are extremely comfortable. Extremely comfortable. Look, let me go through the salaries. Let me go through the salaries so you appreciate what I'm coming from. The president, according to the last emolument review, the president takes 47,277 cedis. Okay. The vice president takes 39,397 cedis. The Speaker of Parliament takes 35,021 cedis. Chief Justice, 34,146. Cabinet members who are ministers and MP combined, they take 33,000, right? Your cabinet minister who is a non-member of parliament will take 32,000. The chairman of the Council of State takes 28,455 cedis. The member of parliament takes 28,017 cedis. Now, the Council of State member, like Togbe Afede was taking home every month 26,266. Now, tell me, how many Ghanaians earn this sort of salary at the end of the month? How many?
Few.
Extremely few. There's like a 1%.
Nobody on single spine earns this.
Nobody.
Nobody on single spine.
Nobody
in
does
fact,
that.
in fact, you know, if you look at the committee's report, it tells you that, you know, if you compare the highest single spine earner to this, and if you look at their base pay of the single spine, their base pay, this is 3 times more than what a single spine, someone on single spine would earn.
I think it should be more.
Well,
On the average.
on the average, 3 times. So I'm looking at the highest earner on single.
Oh, highest earner.
Highest
Oh,
earner.
okay.
The base pay, you know, single span, all of it, base pay. So I'm looking at the base pay. You got a few things to it, you know, probably may take it to, you know, 12,000, 13,000, or
Yeah.
that. But even that notwithstanding, just imagine, on the average, if you look at the article 71 office holder, the amount of money he earns, you compare that to what a single spine salary worker earns. That is enormous. So you are being paid well.
Yeah.
And I am not going to come here and say, oh, they shouldn't pay you your money.
Yeah, it's okay.
Because that's what the committee says, you should be paid. Take it.
So take it.
Even though I have my issues with it. Well,
of course.
Today's argument, I'm not going to get there.
Yes.
When you are done, go.
Let's go. I mean, you take all this, and by the way, this is just the pay. This is the salaries. They will take free fuel. They will live in a bungalow. You know, they will get. So electricity state is taking care of it. Water.
Yeah, that's for the ministers.
Those who live in
and the judges and government bungalows. You know. So we are doing all that for you, and we are giving you this handsome pay. Mm-hmm. And then you tell us that after we've done all this for you, just to serve us, when you are done and you are going, we should give you part of this bulk and say thank you and just give it to you too. Why? In a poor country like ours, there is no justification why we should still have this end of service benefit for public servants who take these huge salaries at the end of their term. It doesn't make sense. And we are having this conversation at the time when the workers, ordinary workers, you know, they are, you know, agitating for salaries. They look at this and they say, why shouldn't I ask for my own pound of flesh? Now, listen, let's talk about the ex-gratia. So the president, based on the computation of the ex-gratia, for the first term, he's entitled to an ex-gratia of 659,392. Yes.
cedis. Now, the Togbe Afede published here, so we know that he and all the other council of state members, who by the way, were part-time workers.
No, they meet once.
Extremely part-time.
They're supposed to meet once every quarter.
Every 4 times in a
year. And you are being paid
4 times. They're meeting only 4 times in a year.
26,000
and
a month.
And they take 26,000 cedis a month for meeting 4 times in a year. And then when they are going, you give them 366,000 cedis. Thank you, money. I mean, how can you, in good conscience, justify this? The ex-gratia of a member of parliament is 390,000. He's also going to go with it when he's leaving. Cabinet minister, 457,000. I mean, it's just not fair you are completely out of touch. But you see, I blame the Constitution because the Constitution created this architecture.
Don't blame the Constitution. And let me explain why you don't have to blame the Constitution.
Okay.
The Constitution says the emoluments of these persons shall be decided by a committee. The committee sits down and decides that they should be paid ex-gratia. The committee is what sits down and decides that we pay them ex-gratia. So it's not the Constitution saying they should. The entitlements, gratuities, and all of that. If the committee sits down and decides that they don't need these, what will they do?
Yeah.
Shall be determined by a committee. Now the committee says, you don't need all of these things. What do? They can't do anything. And you see, this is the point. Are you aware that but for Dome level, the government was even going to pay members of the 2005 to 2009 Parliament additional ex-gratia? Are you aware? Under the last administration of the Nana Akufo-Addo, they were going to pay them. They came and did some computation, sent it, it got approval, and then the Auditor General decided the information was released into the public domain. We condemned it, we criticized it, and then they stopped. So it's like at every given time, the people who are supposed to serve this country, the people who go around telling you and me that they are coming to better our lives, not only better and not only fail to better our lives, they also want to enhance their lives only. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's what we have become as a people,
and then
unfortunately.
And then when you're done, they will tell teachers that their reward is in heaven. Meanwhile,
where is heaven?
Heaven is here on earth.
What is it?
For the Article 71 office holder.
Where is heaven?
So honestly, it is time to review this payment to the Article 71 office holders. In the context of everything that's happening right now, there's no justification for this. And you can argue that Ghana's biggest problem has been politicians.
Yes.
Right? Ghana's biggest problem. Because without them, we possibly would have progressed a bit more. So considering that they created a lot of problems for us, and yet at the same time paying themselves, and the thing about they pay themselves.
Oh, yes.
So the president is determining the salaries and emoluments of everybody else.
Yes.
And then Parliament is,
So it is I scratch your back, you scratch my back. And then when it's time for it, they go for a committee of the whole meeting. You don't have a lot of rejections. Parliament will send communications to the presidency and say, this is too, you have not taken good care of us. So if you don't take good care of us, we also not take good care of you.
Simple.
Then the executive will say, you bring it back. We'll approve something good for you. My goodness.
Famous Smith says, how do you expect our leaders to have a feel of what is the ordinary citizen experiences every day if they are paid these huge salaries? You're right, Famous. Samuel Opoku Abebio, we are opposed to paying Council of State members ex-gratia, while the others should be drastically reduced or totally scrapped. I am for scrapping. Don't reduce it. Let's scrap the ex-gratia. Because you see, I don't see the purpose of end of service. Because yesterday on PM Express, the question was asked of Mr. Fuseni. When you are a member of parliament, when you take your salary, do you pay SNIT contribution? He says yes. Okay.
Yes.
So I've seen people say, oh, but that's, we are not benefiting from pension. That's not true. All public servants, when they finish service and they retire, they only go for their pensions. That's all they get.
Yes.
That's all they get. Why should it be different from the member of parliament? Why should it be different from the president? Why should it be different from a council of state member? A cabinet minister or a minister of state. It just simply doesn't make sense. Serve your 4 years, take your salary, leave, rely on your pensions when you retire. It's as simple as that, because that is what all the other workers in this great country of ours do. I mean, can you imagine if workers also start demanding ex-gratia? So when they finish, calculate 4 months of their salary they've earned and multiply, do the same, and pay them all, because they will be justified.
You see, this is the point. I did not ask you to become a member of parliament.
Yeah.
Don't come and complain to me. If you think, and I say this all the time, if you think being a member of parliament is difficult for you, please go home. Tell us. I mean, I know somebody who came to parliament and said, is this how your parliament is? I won't come again.
That's it.
He never showed up in parliament again. In fact, he told his people, I am not going again. Don't come to me again and ask me for any money. I am not going again. He left. If you think you cannot do the job, please walk out. Tell the people who brought you that Ejimani Mejai.
If the pay is not enough for you,
Walk
no
out.
problem, go. If we don't want you to get ex-gratia, you think it's a problem, go. You get your cars. I mean, MPs will argue we get a loan, but if the terms of that loan is what me and you can also access.
Oh yeah, the 60% that the state will pay for them on the of it.
If I get 60%,
like every 4 years I change a car. You can see how they keep going back. Yeah. But even that one, just chipping in this, we have voices of all those who said going forward they should stop. We wait for their next conversation on that.
Salatil says, what did the state, replying to Samuel Poku Abebio, then what did he state as his principle based on which he did the return? He said two things. That when he was the Council of State member, he was paid salary, and for him that's okay. That's what a just reward for the service he rendered, and so he doesn't require a thank you gift when he was partying. Samoku Abebio comes and replies that, which I did. Abukari Hassan says, Evans, my problem with Togbe is returning it to the government because they will misuse it. Imagine sending his money to the northern region to construct my community bridge at Zitugu. We are waiting to see what Paul will, if NDC come to. So I get Hassan's point, and I think it's a valid point that some of them would have donated it to charity. Someone would have donated it to charity, right? And they said, yeah, I was paid this. I don't think I deserve it. So I am going to do 15 mechanized boreholes or whatever it is that the cost is for communities in some parts of the country.
So I get a message from a recipient of ex-gratia who says there's no problem. The man was defending the statutory position, not necessarily whether it was right or wrong. He says if that's abhorrent, let's revoke it rather than bastardize the legitimate recipients as if they are criminals. I'm indifferent about ex-gratia or the frequency of payment. I'll collect as long as it's legal. If it's taking away too, I care less.
I see the principle. I mean, it is legal. It says it's part of my conditions of service.
Yeah.
So I take it, right? There are some people who, for moral reasons, conscience, etc., will say, no, I can't in good conscience take it. They're also right to take that position, right? And I get a point. I mean, if it's legal, of course, you take it. If you decide to pay me.
That's why I'm saying let's take
it out of their hands.
Let's take it away.
Yeah, let's take it away.
I will not give it to you again.
Papa Teku says, the Constitution needs a serious review. This Article 71 thing is making beneficiaries take undue advantage of the citizenry. Part-time job earning that much each month and a colossal ex-gratia is a slap in the face. Solomon Nyantechi, whoever swear to scrap it, get my support regardless of his or her party. Everything we earn as a country goes to reward political class and they get whatever they perform or not. It's insane, he says. Evelyn says, you are not being fair, and that's a response to one of the comments that had been said earlier. So a few of your comments there on the important subject of ex-gratia that has become key on the back of Togbe. Look, we need to applaud Togbe Afede.
You have to.
But I don't understand where the argument about political, but he's a politician.
Oh no, he's a chief.
Yeah. I don't know, people link it. People think he's doing the bidding of an NDC.
Oh, no.
You know.
I was going to say something. And you know, I grew up in Ho.
Yeah.
I go to Ho all the time. For those who know Togbe Afede very well. Have we not seen Togbe Afede, criticizing, condemning the NDC before? He's done same to the NPP. Okay. He was board chairman of a bank under the NDC. He still maintained his position as a board chairman of that bank under the NPP until he resigned. So it's not something, you don't have to look at him and think that he's a politician. No, he's a traditional ruler. He's a businessman. You know that he was part of the founders of Data Bank.
Yeah. And
later moved to establish the.
So you mean if anything at all, he has a good relationship with Ken? I think they fell out, didn't they?
Well,
Kudia Bogresho says, we just have to be bold and scrap that unpopular emoluments called ex-gratia. It doesn't make economic sense. Kofi Ajiman Blackman, watching you inside pig farm. And I like the pig farm comment because it has a rhyme with animal farm. if you know what I mean. Solomon Irifi says, but is the cash cow still available? Now tell me who the highest single spine salary earner is at the moment. We are gnashing here. Mame Ya, even why Council of State, can't we do without them? We can, of course. And yesterday, a point was made on my show by Professor Jumendia and Inisa Fuseni both asking that the Council of State be simply scrapped. Ghana's biggest problem is religion. Politics comes after, he says. Okay. Well, religion has its own problems. Okay. So those are a few of your views on this matter. But look, I need to say something. Recently, when I sleep, I dream about it. Citizens complain a lot. And they say, well, we, the media, we're not doing enough. But if you really want something done about ex-gratia, you, the citizens, have all the power.
They do.
All the power is in your hands, really. So it's okay to talk about it, but it's better to take action. Take action if you really want this done. The MPs are in Parliament, you know. So yeah, that's it. Yes,
take action. That's all.
Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day.